Hi everybody, here's my weekly update from Panama City, Panama. Caesar and I are still in the same apartment, day 127 now of quarantine, or the first week, however, was just curfew, so what's that, day 120 of quarantine, except there was 1 week in there where they lifted quarantine but then they slapped it back down again. No surfing for you, they said. And so here we wait. We have finished the application for our Friendly Nations visa. We got our passports back this week on Tuesday. We've got a multiple re-entry stamp, so we could theoretically leave Panama and come back in if they'd let us, except the airport's closed. There are flights out, mostly to the United States though, and because the United States is on a list of banned countries for flying into other countries, we can't go to the United States. Not that we were planning on anyway, because it seems to be one of the least safe places to go in the world. I would like to make this a happy or maybe even funny video for you, but I'm sorry I can't do that this week because, well, it's day 127, people. 127 days of being stuck in quarantine. I haven't surfed since February. This is it's not getting any easier, it's just getting harder. Every week is harder. I just want to surf, and there's nothing about me getting on a surfboard in the ocean, catching some waves, that is going to mean that I catch coronavirus, or if I have it, that I spread it to anyone else. Quite the opposite. And when you're surfing, you want space between yourself and anyone else out in the ocean. Like, it's a socially distanced sport by its very nature. It is unbearably frustrating to not be able to surf and to have no idea when I will be able to surf. I hate this situation, and I mean, I'm just going to be honest, the mental health issue now is becoming increasingly an issue. Caesar and I are still managing that. I think we're managing it as well as we possibly can. So some of the things I'm doing here in quarantine to manage mental health so that I don't end up in a deep, dark place of depression. Routine, got a good routine. Wake up in the morning, the very first thing I do after brushing my teeth, obviously, is we do some exercise. We do a good cardio workout. It's quite short, but it's quite intense. After that, jump in the shower, have a nice cold shower. I still put on makeup every day, and that's one of the, it's like a self-soothing thing I do for my own creative expression, just to make myself feel good. And then into work. I try and stop working about 6 o'clock so that I'm not tied to my computer constantly. Moving our business forward. You know, so we have business meetings, we have plans, we execute those plans, so it feels like life is moving forward. So those, and then every day Caesar and I sit down together and we talk about how we're feeling. Like, how are you feeling? Are you sleeping well? How do you feel today? How's your mood, kind of thing. So knowing that there's a person who's checking in with me every day as to how I'm feeling, I know that helps me. I don't know, I don't think Caesar needs it, but I'm sure it's good for him too. He's always just Mr. Chill, Mr. Calm, just super even-tempered and always happy. So yeah, those are some of the things that I'm doing to try and keep mental health positive. But it is getting increasingly difficult, and I would like for this to be a positive video, but I'm sorry, I can't manage it this week. This week I see some talk on social media from New Zealanders in New Zealand about the idea of charging New Zealanders who are returning home for their quarantine, about $3,000 per person. And some of the things I have seen said about those of us who are overseas by my fellow citizens in New Zealand are really horrible. I have never felt so unwelcome to return home to my own country that I was born in and lived in for 50 years as I do this week. I feel completely unwelcome. It's horrible. I know it's not all New Zealanders who are saying these horrible things about us, but it's enough. And they are loud, and they are mean. What happened to being kind, people? Just be kind to each other. If I'm going to be charged 3,000 New Zealand dollars per person for a government enforced quarantine in a place that I don't get to choose where I'm staying, and I have to do it, and I'm not doing it for me, I'm doing it for the rest of the country. So that if I arrived with coronavirus, I'm not spreading it to anyone else, so that coronavirus remains only in isolation at the border. I wouldn't be doing it out of my choice, I'd be doing it for the rest of the country. And you want me to pay $3,000 for that? That means that if that's the way the country goes, and I desperately hope that Jacinda Ardern doesn't do that, what it means is that you're telling New Zealanders overseas, and there's about 1 million of us, that only those who are wealthy can return. What a horrible, horrible thing to do to your fellow citizens. I guess I won't be returning with that level of unwelcomeness. Is that a word, unwelcomeness? I don't know, I guess it is now. Okay, I am going to make an effort to think over the next week about some positive things I can say to you next week, so that I can give you a nice, happy video next week. But again, I apologise, I just can't manage it this week. I'm going to leave you with some video I took on Tuesday morning when we went back to immigration to pick up our passports. I did make a better attempt to video the traffic here in Panama City. We didn't get stuck in like a traffic jam, but there was pretty heavy traffic in the city with apparently one of the strictest quarantines in the world. Okay, I'll leave you with that and this week's cocktail creation. See you all next week, guys. Bye. This is my version of a toasted almond, so it's a toasted chocolate almond or a chocolate toasted almond, or, well, this is what it is. Okay. I've got some liqueur de cafe, I've got some amaretto, and I've got some Hershey's chocolate milk. I've got a bunch of ice in here. Now I am going to do, let's see, the coffee liqueur first. I'm going to do 1.5 ounces of this. Over some ice, amaretto, so 1.5 ounces of each of those liqueurs, and now I'm going to add some Hershey's chocolate milk. I don't know what the stuff is like, so I don't know if this is advisable. I have not made this cocktail and tried it yet, so we are doing it together. I'm going to give it 1.5 ounces of this as well. So that's got some sugar in it. Actually, it's quite a sugary cocktail, really, isn't it? Okay. That looks nice and frothy. Okay, let's see if it tastes as good as I think it should taste. Yeah, hey, that's actually pretty good. Okay, yeah, that's this week's cocktail. Cheers, guys.